Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Sundays with the Cherry on Top. I am your host, Cherry. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to bring to you my guest, David Crownson, who I'll bring on in a few seconds. But just wanted to give you some love and say I thank you for always supporting me and meeting me back here at 5 p.m. every single Sunday. And you know the deal. You know what I'm gonna say. You can find me on social media. You can find me on Instagram, Sundays with the Cherry on Top. You can find me on Twitter, Sundays with Cherry, Facebook, Sundays with the Cherry on Top. And you can go there. You can find past interviews. You can find some awesome cherry picks and some little clips, of past guests. And you can always go to the YouTube channel and watch the full interview later, because some of you guys can't always make it live. But the cool thing about it is that they are up there for you on Facebook for you to watch whenever you have the time to. And you guys know how I like to start each interview with a fun fact. And I was trying to think of how I know David, like how we met. And I can't remember. I'm like, he's in my life. I know him. I know of him. We know each other. But you know how usually like around audition rooms or at parties or something, you can think of that moment of when you have met that person. And I was trying to rack my brain. I'm like, how did David appear in my life? And I'm just thinking maybe it was an apparition where he just appeared and we just became friends and that's it. But I don't know. But maybe he knows. He might know. So when he comes on, I want to find out, because I was racking my brain and I was like, I don't know how our relationship happened. Another fun fact is that we're going to talk about when we get into the interview with Harriet, Tubman, Demon Slayer. He was on the continent of Africa when the idea hit him, right? He was in the motherland. He was taking his break, doing some rest, being with the ancestors or whatever he was doing. And Harriet Tubman came to him and said, tell my story. And then that's how we got Harriet Tubman, Demon Slayer. But we'll talk more about that as well. And before we bring him on. So with that said, the fun facts out of the way, I want to bring on to you my friend, David Crownson. Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Do you even remember how we met or how we became?
Yes.
Because we know each other. So tell me, because I was racking my brain. I can't remember.
Okay. We met, I think it was in, I want to say 2011. Okay. And it's funny because I don't think we like spoke, because it was during Russell. Russell was doing a labyrinth movement class.
Oh, Russell G. Jones.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Russell G. Jones.
Yes.
Was doing a movement class, and it was like no one was like really. Well, I think we were allowed to speak, but we kind of just jumped into this like movement thing, and it was about having to work as an ensemble thing, and like so we all had to like communicate like physically.
Oh no, where's the story going? What do you mean communicate physically? My mom was watching. Wait a minute. Where are we going with this physical story?
For a dance piece, for like just like how like it was like a storytelling through like dance and all that.
Yes,
like very modern dance. This is my modern dance like phase or whatever. But yeah, like that's how I met you. Okay. And like I think it was very much we were all kind of like walking around. It was just like walking around, exploring space and just how to be present and how to be present in our bodies when it comes to performing, because with theater and performing, there's like a lot of anxiety and a lot of things happen, and a lot of like blinders that get in the way that keep us from being not to like say like to put the role or the part on us. It's us just to rise up into it and run toward ourselves in a way. So and Russell is like, Russell G. Jones is an amazing person and a great like physically present person.
Yeah.
So like I was like, I need to take this because dude, you're so relaxed and so at energetic and like so in your body, and like black don't crack, like Russell's like older than me, and like he's getting older, but he like looks young, and I'm like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know what's so funny about Russell G. Jones, who I call Papa G ever since he became a papa, is that most of the people in my life he introduced me to. Like I had a couple of seasons ago, 2 seasons ago, I interviewed Susan Hayward, and Susan Hayward and I met through Russell. Like he had 2 tickets to see Neighbors at the Public back in the day, way back in the day. And he couldn't make it or something. I can't remember exactly what, but he left a ticket for me and left a ticket for his other friend. And he didn't tell me the name. And then we get there, we meet, and we experience this play together, and we've been friends ever since. And so you're another connection of Russell G. And let me tell you, I guess the class didn't have much presence on me because I wasn't present enough to remember that moment, right? But I just want to say, I'm so glad to have
it. Hot. It was like intensely hot. I was like, yeah, why'd you pick this room?
Oh, okay. I don't remember. I was trying to cool off. But listen, I'm excited to have you here. I'm excited to have you here, and the reason why I'm excited to have you here is because I've seen you do all the things that you're doing. And I can't wait to dive into conversation about how and where and the ins and outs of everything. But before we start the interview, I just like to do a check-in with all of my guests. It's something that I like to do because we're in the middle of a pandemic. There's so much going on. Everybody's, dealing with getting vaccinated or not. We have a new administration. So with everything just happening, and we're still in this pandemic that some people, forget that we're in. But I just want to check in with your spirit, with you. How are you doing? How are you holding up during these times? I just, so tell me about how you're doing in this moment.
Really allowing myself to have days of laziness. I don't want to say laziness, but just slowing down. And being okay with slowing down a little bit, because before, back in like 2019, I was in my gym, I'm doing my auditions, I'm in scene work, I'm in body work, I'm doing everything, I'm going on dates, I'm on my therapy. I'm on my thing, and then I'm doing book sign, I'm going on tour, I'm gonna memorize all these lines and be in everything, but when everything kind of shut down, but everything was still active.
Yeah.
But I had nowhere to put it. And it was very much sporadic. So kind of taking time to just quiet here and meditate more, and go for walks, and being very, and speaking of, I've gotten back into dating during this.
Well, throw some of that love on me, because I'm like, I was just talking to my producer Bjorn. For people who know him, you guys do. For those who don't, my producer Bjorn, and I actually literally made a comment and said, "We're my partners. Shoot, come on, make it happen." So I hear you.
Yeah, but also because there's so much intensity, and this is no disrespect to anyone that I've talked to. I've been very selective. Who I've kind of selective of the certain energy that I've kept in my life. Before, I was like, all right, let me tolerate this for a couple of days and see how this is gonna work out, and see how just see what this will turn into for a couple of dates. But I've realized through the power of prayer and therapy.
Amen. Pro therapy. Yes.
that my senses kind of tell me all I need to know about how this is gonna go between sometimes the first or second date, and just really trusting that, and just hey, I think there was someone who, and this is no disrespect, but this is how she sees the world, is in a much more cynical, resonated vibration, which cynicism is fine, because it just means something's missing, and we have to fix it, and be active about how we're going to fix this. But she was very set on this kind of down energy, and I'm like, I can't have that for what with everything I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So it's kind of this has allowed me to be, if I'm going to, do stuff, my life, and share my life with you, I really need it to energize me in a loving, positive way.
Yeah.
That'll kind of make me kind of rise up to this because you know
okay, anyway.
it's a lot. So yeah, I've just been really selective, and
Yeah.
like I've lost some friendships along the way too. Lost some even representation along this way too. It was like there was an agent who wasn't doing like I was doing more work than this one manager that I had for acting, and had to say like, hey, sorry, this isn't. We're on the same. We're not on the same. Not to say like
wavelength.
Yeah, just same focus.
Yeah,
you know, like I had a literary agent who I said I want to write movies too, besides doing my comic book or doing like other things with TV. I have other ambitions, and this agent like, yo, stay in your lane.
Oh.
And he said that to me. He was like, stay in your lane. And I was like, yo, dude, you do know if I like get more opportunities to write, you get like 10% of stuff, right? So like be encouraging me to want to do stuff. So I was like, you can go.
Yeah, you have to let that one go. And like speaking of all the things that you're doing in the other lanes that you want to be in, because you are a writer, you know, you're an actor, you're a content creator, you've written this comic book. Where did your love for all of this come from? Like, what was the beginnings of this for you?
My dad got me into comic books when I was a kid, and like I was like 6 years old, and he got me like it was like this giant graphic novel. It was the death of Superman, where Superman dies, and like you know, which is like I think my parents are immigrants. My parents are from Ghana, West Africa. At the time in the 90s, comic books were selling like millions of copies, and they still do, but like it was like on a crazy stratosphere in the 90s. So when Superman died, it was like the best-selling comic book of the 90s, like sold like 7 million copies. So my dad bought the graphic novel. He's like, oh, we're going to use this to pay for your college one day and put some value in it, because he knew people who would sell their comics for like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So my dad got me introduced to that, and then like comic strips, like the Sunday newspaper, like just reading the back of it, I would read that, and I just loved the visual storytelling of it. And then it just kind of like my dad would watch movies with me, like Lion King. We would always like every Sunday we would go see a movie, and I also realized I liked watching not just the movie, I liked watching how they made it. And I didn't know that I was like, I was like, you know, just the energy of them talking about it, something about the energy of it. I'm like, as a kid, I was just really attracted to. And also I liked, I think, what else? I forgot. I think we, you know, and then, you know, Denzel Washington as a kid growing up.
Yeah, of course, Denzel. Yeah, but he was in everybody's household. He was in everybody's TV and movies and all of that, you know. Yeah, exactly. So all the love that you have, looking at movies and loving how they put together, and looking at the comic books and looking at the visuals, you segued into your acting world, and you got in front of the camera. Or was it behind the camera first? Meaning, were you drawing at a young age that the visions come to you, or was it acting first? Because I've known you as an actor, and so when I started to see all the other things you were doing, I was like, oh wow, that's amazing. But your love of acting came first for you?
Well, it was being. I thought I was gonna be like a cartoonist, but I couldn't draw. Like I could draw like goofy stuff, but yeah, but like the storytelling aspect of it is what I was kind of drawn to. But I knew at the time, I was like, oh, you know, but they all equal storytelling.
Yeah,
like, a certain form of storytelling. And I just remember I was really comfortable in crowds, and I liked making people laugh. So like, I think one of my teachers said, oh, you should do like maybe stand up, because you're really like calm and relaxed with your public speaking. You have a good speaking voice, and you're good with being present and stuff. So he got me into like public speaking, and my parents, they separated, and we moved to a different area, and I was getting bullied a lot. So I wasn't like used to this area. So I was like, this same teacher I was still in communication with at my old school, but I was nervous about doing theater because I got picked on a lot. But then there was like a performing arts high school, and I was like, oh, like maybe I should try acting and stuff, you know. And I didn't know what I was going to be. Still, I just was like, oh, let me just try things out. And then I saw Denzel in Hurricane, and I was like, I want to do that.
That's what you want to do, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I had that same kind of feeling because my mom took me to see For Colored Girls when I was a itty bitty, and then also too, I was just talking to some friends about because you know the new Billie Holiday is out, the new movie, and then I was talking about how the with Lady Sings the Blues with Donna Ross, when my mother, you know, finally let me see that movie and how it changed my life, and I was like, what is she doing? I just that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. And so it's just like having those memories that that get to you at the heart, and you're like, this is the performance that allowed me to say to myself, I know this is what I want to do. And so it sounds like Denzel was that for you. And you know, I just feel like we have to give homage, give them their flowers while we're here, because people like Denzel and Donna Ross and Cicely Tyson, may she rest in peace, they've paved the way for us, you know, us actors in this present time, because we see their performances and we're like, that's what I want to do. And so speaking of that, with you getting into your acting from Denzel with Hurricane, talk to me about Bubbly Brown Sugar that's on Urban Fix TV. So because you're currently playing Zeke in this. And for those out there who are watching now and who will watch this later, what is Bubbly Brown Sugar about? And tell me a little bit about Zeke and what attracted you to this part.
Yeah, the show is a love story. Like basically, there it is. Tamla Baldwin and Rich Lowe. They play characters who are constantly having like very intense dreams about one another, but they've never met before. So I think Tamla, who is like the lead character, she's having like intense dreams about this guy, and she's like, it feels real, but I don't know. But so they're both the universe is basically conspiring to bring them together in a way. And they're both kind of connected. It's to simplify it is kind of like, oh, it's How I Met Your Mother with Black people, and it's on this like kind of mystical thing about like the law of attraction, that like the one that we desire is out there, and like the universe is kind of like pulling us together under like a divine time. And I play the best friend to Rich Lowe's character, and this character named Zeke, who's like a happily married family man with like 3 kids. And so I'm definitely acting my ass. I'm acting on the film, man. I am acting because I was like, what? He is married with 3 children? Oh no. But that's someone's life, you know?
Yeah.
One day, Mom, if you're watching, one day. one day.
Well, is there somebody intensely dreaming about the married man with the kids? Are you in anybody's dreams in this?
No, hopefully. No. Well, no, he's in a very happy, stable relationship. Him and his wife, they argue and like fight, but they argue and fight out of like love, and they're very passionate. And it shows like the full nuance of the relation. Like they pray together, they fight together, and not only like they're not fighting just for the sake of fighting. They're also fighting for each other, and it's not like a toxic, terrible, awful thing.
Yeah,
you know, it's not like it's not like a no disrespect. It's not like a Malcolm and Marie thing.
I still haven't seen it. I wanted to no spoilers. I still haven't seen it. So I keep seeing things on Facebook and social media about it. Everybody has some clear points of views about it. It's on my list. The beauty about being a Black artist today is that there's so much content, like even more so than when we were growing up, right? And then like sometimes I can't keep up, and I have to give myself a break and make a list and make notes about, okay, I gotta make sure I gotta watch this. And then somebody will go, oh, have you seen Lupin? And I'm like, oh, look, I gotta add that to my list. And then somebody's like, have you seen this? And I'm like, let me add that, you know, and Bridgerton and all these things. So it's very exciting, But I want to stop you because I don't want you to give me I don't want no Malcolm and Reese spoilers. I don't want no spoilers.
Oh yeah, I won't like, but yeah, but like they have a very like loving relationship. Also, Malcolm and Reese, it's I won't spoil this, but it's good. There's a lot. It's a good actor driven thing. Like,
okay.
Like it'll be a good scenes for actors.
Okay.
Night, but I yeah, like Zeke and his wife, they just it's a love that I think we all want.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a relationship where and he's okay with it. He loves being married to this woman. He not only he just doesn't want to be married for the sake of being married. He loves this woman and he loves his children and he'll do anything for his kids and like his wife and doesn't feel stressed out or the way I kind of feel a little bit about like marriage and kids where you
it's not for everybody. Some people get stressed out. Some people, just they out of thinking about it is like, ooh, so I understand that. And I love the idea of watching this and seeing Black love on the screen because that's a revolutionary act from my point of view and just how, really get to see those images and to hear you talk about a Black man who loves his wife and his children and the marriage and all the things that you guys are doing to make the marriage work. We need those images because, the images have been so negative in the past and growing up, you don't really, and there's always been storylines or TV shows where there's a single parent in the home or the father's not around or, and so we have to balance that out because there are so many Black fathers who are in that household who are loving their kids and, and that needs to be showed. That needs to be expressed.
It does. It needs to be expressed, and like it not in a weird Moesha way where it's like, hey, I have this secret. I was like, what? What happened? What do you mean you?
Yeah.
So it's so that show it's just done. Tamla, I got involved with it because I think Tamla was doing a reading of it. She's like, I have this idea for a show I want you to read, just to be in the reading for it. And I was like, and Tamla's one of my good friends. I've known her for a couple of years. I'm like, yeah, I love you. I'll do it. And then she's like, hey, I'm going to like shoot it. And I said, cool, awesome. And she's like, yeah, like, I'll do like a Kickstarter fundraiser thing and I'll cover you for like travel and like, pay you like, whatever SAG
nice
day thing. And I was like, cool, awesome. And she gave me the script and I was, I'm like, okay, I think I won't just take something on like at least now I'm like, okay, what can I like give to this really? Not do it for the sake of working. It's what can me, David, as an individual creative person and my expressions, what can I do to serve this particular
nice story? No, I love that. I love that, serving a particular story, which leads me to the next question I want to get to about your comic book, Harriet Tubman, because I see that as another way of you serving to the community and serving to the arts and making your name and stamping your name in the book of artists to look up to. And from what I understand, just learning about you and researching you, the idea came to you when you were actually in Africa. It's like I have this image of you when I heard you explain it, how she just appeared to you and was like, tell my story. And I love the idea of you telling a story and creating a comic book with the Black woman at the center and is the lead. And so I understand that the idea came to you when you were in Africa, but the elements, there's so many different elements. Like I hear you talk about Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and how and your love of comic books, and then you're thinking, the sword fighting. So just tell me a little bit about once she appeared to you and said, this is tell my story, how did you put the elements together and why was this important for you to tell the story in this way?
Yeah, I just like, I was, again, I was in Ghana, West Africa, and I left New York because New York had kind of beaten me down into submission. And I had 3 really big auditions back to back. And I was just drained, like just emptied out of I gave everything until I had nothing left. Like until like we squeezed this wet towel till it was perfectly dry. And my mom kind of heard this energy in my voice, and she just said, like, "Yeah, if you don't get any of these auditions, because you're on callback number 2 for all 3 of these auditions, if you don't get any of these, you need to take a break. You need to come to Africa, come to God, like just be in this space of meditation and prayer." And I was like, "No, Mom, I ain't doing nothing." But like my mom's usually right like 97% of the time. So yeah, so I think everyone should do it. Every Black person should do it.
Yes. My mom was in Ghana right before the pandemic hit. She went to Ghana and loved it. And so, yeah, so my family goes a lot. I haven't gone yet. I need to, but yeah, she literally had just gotten back when the pandemic hit. She was in Ghana. Yeah.
Oh, please do it. Please. But like, it was there for 4 or 5 months. And on month 4, I was watching a Harriet Tubman documentary, and just like, I was like, wow, I'm in Ghana, and I was loving the food's great. Everyone's happy. And I'm not like a Black man. I'm just a David. I'm just a guy. Which like I've heard people say that, but I never really, I didn't really get what they meant, but until I experienced it after being a Black man in America for like, at the time I was 28, and it was like 28 years of being an other. And being like, like this background is a white space, and like me, like that's how much I stand out in like a random spot in like Union Square, even in New York City. So like, yeah, there was that. But like, I was watching this Harriet Tubman documentary, and it was just because Harriet Tubman, her ancestry is traced back to Accra, Ghana, so she's highly celebrated in Ghana as well. So I'm watching this documentary. And then the documentary ends, and I'm kind of just channel surfing, and I kind of happen to stop on the ending of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, where it's that big katana fight scene with Michelle Yeoh and Zhang Zi, and they're
such a good scene.
Yes,
such a good scene. I mean, I just love her, and she's amazing. But anyway, go ahead. But yeah,
it's like this beautifully directed scene, and like just the like almost ballet-esque of like sword fighting. And so like watching that, it's great. And then when that ended, I was channel surfing, and then happened to stop on this movie. It was Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna watch this movie. This is like a fun, goofy movie. What a great idea! Because I remember it was out in America, but I never got a chance to watch it. So I'm like, oh, let me watch this like perfectly like schlock movie. And but it wasn't like an entertaining, fun movie. There were so many opportunities that they didn't take advantage of, and I was like, oh, that's terrible. So like I was like, man, that movie could have been so much fun and so cool if they had done this and done that. But it's hard to make a movie. Like I don't know what stuff they ran into in production. They just like, we just gotta make it happen.
Yeah.
So I'm writing in my journal, and I'm just kind of like doing a stream of consciousness writing about my experiences, because I wanted to like have recorded data of my time there. So I'm just writing down my journal, and I took a break from doing like a stream of conscious writing, and I think like actually I was talking to Bjorn actually.
Is Bjorn gonna get a credit? We're gonna see a credit in the back of the comic book. Because you have 5. You have 5 comic books out now. Now you got to go back and write his name down and say thank you for being a part of. Like, okay, let me find out.
I took a break, and like because me and Bjorn were like talking about he was like acting in something or whatever, and I was like taking a break just to talk to him for a second.
Yeah.
And I just because I remember this whole entire 30 minutes when I came up with it like viscerally. And I went on Facebook. I talked to Bjorn for like 30 minutes, and then like I didn't see who posted it, but someone posted this thing. I think it was like a fan site where it was Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but they had that same katana fight scene. I was like, oh, I just watched that. But they turned the katanas into lightsabers, and they were like mashup. And I was like, the word mashup like kind of kept sticking in my head. I'm like, okay, like I was like, oh, Crouch Like a Hidden Dragon, but with lightsabers. I'm like, that's interesting. And then I went back and I looked at all the things that I wrote in my journal and just kind of reread it. And these three things like just jumped at me. And it was again Harriet Tubman first, katana fight scene, and then witch hunters. And then I just kind of like looked at it and just was like, wasn't thinking. And I was like, it was just these three things I just like noticed.
Yeah.
And then Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, it just like popped up. I was like, oh my God. And I like wrote it down. It was Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer. I circled it and underlined it. And I was like, what if Harriet Tubman, who we know and love, was like still a petite warrior, but like moved like she does in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but she's like fighting like a demonic werewolf or something, like a racist demon or something like that. And it just kind of lived in me. And I just, the story, I didn't write it down. The story and the idea was just inside me. And I didn't know what it was. I'm like, is it a movie? I don't have millions of dollars. I don't know what I can't make it a movie or a TV. Like, I have no idea what it is, but I just the imagery, it just haunted me in a beautiful way, and lived in me. And so when I was done with my time in Ghana, and it was like, okay, it's time for me to go back home and get back to work and make some money. I got on the plane. And as soon as I like got into New York City, there was like those overpriced bookstores, Brookstone or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like waiting for like a shuttle, and so I wandered into this bookstore and I saw like a How to Write Comic Books, Words for Pictures by Brian Michael Bendis, and I'm like, it's a comic book.
Oh wow! Wait, okay, so wait a minute. So because I think that is amazing that you look and you see this comic book. And you say it's a comic book. For those who either A, don't have the comic book, or they need to get the comic book, right? What is one of the what's the beginning stories without giving it away? Because you have what, 4 or 5? You have 5 out now, right?
Yeah, 5 out.
Harriet Tubman, this petite warrior, is fighting racist demon vampires, which I think is amazing. But how is the story set up for people so when they buy it, they're like, they can get into it?
Basically, I based this, it's based on the real Harriet Tubman, but it's kind of, there's a part in time where Harriet Tubman, she was really moving like really like underground. No one knew who she was because she went by Moses. That's like her name. And also, no one knew that it was a woman. They thought like Moses, oh, it's a man.
Yeah.
Racist people, they're like, no one's smart enough to do it. It's a white man named Moses. That's what it is. And they're like, well, we heard he's black. He's obviously in blackface to try and blend in. That like, this is what actual white slave owners thought. And so it's based on the story when people found out her name and who she is. So there was a bounty on Harriet Tubman's head, and he was considered like the most wanted person and the most dangerous person in America for what she did. Like the most dangerous person, dead or alive, like a bounty on her head. And this isn't like, I think the stories are like, oh, it's for $45,000, but it was actually like for, I think like $800 or $900 or something, which is still like with inflation a lot.
That was a lot of money. Yeah, that was a lot of money. Yeah,
a lot of money. That's like $19,000.
Yeah,
today to find this woman, and there was like literally like a domestic hunt. Like think about that. Everyone in America is hunting her down. And so so researching her was really tough because like there was documented thing, like nothing can be written down, documented. Researching was really challenging because it's like there's almost like nothing until
I think you're doing a good job though. I feel like your imagination is doing. I'm trying to talk like without giving it away because people, even though people know Harriet Tubman and they know the story of, you know, of what we're learning in movies and reading on her and learning the history of her, you have a very creative way of telling the story. And we know there were no vampires. I mean, maybe there were vampires, but we know she was slaying no vampires with the sword and all of that. So I feel like it's fun, it's exciting, it's different. You don't see, we've seen Harriet Tubman in many different ways in movies and on TV and in documentaries, but we've never seen her this way in the comic book that you created. And so that's why I think that's why I wanted you on the show today, because I was like, people need to understand how creative this is and how your imagination works and how people can learn about Harriet Tubman in a different way. Because some people can't get into politics or history, or they read and they absorb and they can't take it in. Everybody's different. But to go to a comic book, because kids can learn about her, you know, it's like the way that you're telling this story is a way for people to get in, especially for people who can't absorb it in that way, of the political way, right? And so I say this to say that I think that you're a visionary, and you have always been a visionary, and so the reason why I'm bringing this up is because you had the idea of making Miles Morales a web series, a short animated short, before he became a movie, right? And so before people were talking about Miles Morales and making it a big movie, you were like, you know what? I'm going to create this Facebook page. I'm going to get my friends to do it. I'm going to write it. And so that's how much of a visionary you were, because you were talking about creating this before we saw Miles Morales in the movie theater, right? And so I wanted to show everybody a clip of your Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer mind, because I know you want to make it, the dream is to make it into a movie in real time, which would be amazing. So I just want to show people this clip real quick, and I'll have Bjorn play it. And then when we come back on the other side, we'll talk more about it.
Yes, please.
And so, okay, so that, you know, as I'm talking, I don't know if you can hear me, but so what we're seeing now is the clip of David and with David's vision of Harriet Tubman, and how people get to find out that that she's Moses. And so when we come, so the question I want to ask you while Bjorn is playing this is, I've seen you make posts about this movie and the people that you want to play Harriet. Like, I've even seen you make posts about Samira Wiley playing her, which would be dope. That would be really dope. I could see that. And so why is it important for you? Look at the sword. There's a sword. So why is this important for you to make this vision into a movie? Because I think that would be, we haven't seen a movie of Harriet Tubman fighting racist vampires. So yeah. So let's talk about that and why that you want that to be the next step for you.
At first, when I first came up with it, I thought of it as a movie. I think it would make a better like TV series, so we could kind of take our time to really explore this woman's life, because it was so the movie that came out. And I appreciate like the Cynthia Erivo's performance in it. Like we're friends now, which is like weird.
That's awesome. That's awesome, though. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, like when she got the part, I think I tagged her in something, and she like replied on Twitter. We started like messaging each other.
I love that. I have that with Ava DuVernay. I was on Twitter talking about something, and Ava followed me back, and I was like, "Hey, girl, how you feeling?" So so she's the best friend in my head. I mean, we're not there yet, but I'm like, we're at least we're communicating.
Yeah,
so I'm like, that part. But anyway.
That part, like, Twitter fingers matter, dang it. Twitter fingers
matter. Shoot. Anyway,
on the radar, so that it matters. It matters. She actually got the comic, and I wanted to bother her, but I'm like, no, that's wrong. I was like, yo, because she told me she had a really intense scene to film that movie for her, like as a performer, and she said this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my career. And I filmed she tweeted, so I just did like the hardest thing of my career, and it was on this movie. And I was like, yo, could you take a picture of yourself in makeup? No. She told me she's like, yeah, I did this really hard scene, and thank you for sending the comic because I read the comic in the makeup chair. And I was
love
like,
that.
in my head, I'm just like, yo, like, so you have all your stuff, and you're just reading like Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer.
That is amazing. That's a good story. That's a good story.
Yes. Well, I'm like, part of me, I was like, I'm like, man, I should ask her to take a picture of herself, but like, I'm like, no, like, I understand, like, as an actor, sometimes you need certain like isolation to to do work. So I didn't want to be like too much on her because of like she's carrying a lot because she's the lead in this movie, and you know, doing an accent and having to, you know, when you've been on set and you know, like I ain't
playing no Harriet though. I mean, like, come on, like my show is just Brenda who goes to work every day in amazing dress. I mean, my character Brenda she's so fierce. Like, I love her. She's the fun one. She knows how to dress. She has a lot of fashion. I'm always in my t-shirts, in my jeans. Yeah. So I mean, but I ain't playing Harriet. So it's a different feeling of. Yeah, there's no comparison. Come on now, Harriet Tubman and then Brenda on After Forever, which I love my character, but it's not Harriet. She's not Harriet Tubman.
Well, acting's so hard, okay?
Acting is hard. So, listen, these interviews are literally in and out. So, before we go, I want to. Oh wait, I need to find out. Did she take the picture? Did you ask her?
I ended up not asking her.
Okay, so yeah, so I was just I was like, I'll be asking at 3:00 in the morning, like, did he get the picture? Okay, so I want to go. This next segment. This is we're coming up to the end, and the next segment is our cherry pick. So we have a little cherry pick introduction that Bjorn's going to play, and then we'll come back. Okay, see. So, what is your cherry pick, David? Talk to me about that and why you chose it.
My cherry pick is Atlanta, with written and created by Donald and his brother Stephen Glover.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love the show because I think I've seen every type of Black person on this show.
Amen.
And like, and it's it kind of like, I know, like, I've seen it in Insecure as well. They both came out on the same year. Mm-hmm. But it just feels like there's so much nuance with them, and I think, like Don Glover said, the goal of the show was to make every person who watches it feel like a Black person.
I haven't heard that. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, he's like, I want everyone who watches this show to know what it is like to be Black in every single like part, like, because he plays this dude who's educated, but he still feels like just a guy. Mm-hmm. He's not like a smooth. He's not like the smoothest like playa dude in the room, but he's not like this hard, aggressive alpha male person. He's just a guy. He's just a person, and that's it. And that like makes him like watchable. And every other character, none of them feel, even though like his cousin, who's like this rapper, you know, who's like this, I don't know if you've seen Atlanta, he's like this, his cousin Paperboy is like this hard rapper, but it just shows like his insecurities and shows his strengths. And every character on the show, even like his baby mama, like they have a nuanced thing where like,
you call it a baby mama, but keep going.
That's what she is, his baby mama.
Oh, Lord, don't give me. That's a whole nother episode. We can't. Yeah, that's a whole nother interview, Dave. I have to bring you back for that conversation.
Bring you back for that. Van, this woman, they have a child together.
Yeah.
And like they show the nuances of that relationship. And Donald Glover, I think, like a white executive at FX, they wanted to cut that out. They were like, there's no way this would happen in real life. And he was like, well, like, you know, as I have aunts who have been in those situations with men. They have like it's a very nuanced thing. It's not the one like, oh, you know, he doesn't make much money or something like that, and he's a loser or something like that. Like there's a whole other side to it. And I just love that, he was able to Trojan horse the show because he said, "Oh, because this is back when Don Glover has become like a big rapper. So he said, I want to make a show about a hip hop artist." And and he still has a lot coming off of being in Community and has like that big following, and he's done some stand up. So it's all these white people who are like, "Oh, okay, Donald Glover, I want to see you do a show about hip hop and rap. Yes, let's do it. Here's $3 million. Film 10 episodes, all right?" And he was like, "All right." And he like went and did the show
the way he wanted to.
The way he wanted.
But look where it got him, because he has an 8-figure deal.
Yeah.
For Amazon, so he's not going to get like he's going to be able to tell all the stories that he wants on Amazon, and because they're going to take really good care of him. Like, he literally just sealed that deal. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings to the table. So.
Yeah, because I love his writing. And
his writing's dope.
Yeah, because and I think like he, these next two, it makes me sad. He starts filming next week. I think the finale of the show. We'll do 2 more seasons, and he's going to film them all back to back.
I didn't know that. I knew that he was filming, but I didn't know he was going to film them back to back.
Yeah, so season 3 simultaneously.
Okay, all right. I'll be here. I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. Yeah. But anyway, so listen, before Bjorn's like, "Listen, girl, hurry up." So so let me get. Because I do this. I will be here. These are literally in and out. But when the conversation gets good, we add extra minutes. But then Bjorn's like, "Listen, it's 3 hours up here. What you doing? Like, come on." So with that said, I'm going to say everybody wave goodbye to David. Thank you, David, so much for coming on. This is a great. Everybody, please get his comic book. There's five. What is it? What do you call the episode? I want to say episodes out. Okay.
Yeah. There's 5 issues out.
Oh, issues. Yes, thank you. There's 5 issues out, and so please, you can find them. Where can they get your comic book before you go? Tell people.
If you want a digital copy, you can go on peepgamecomics.com. It's a Black-owned site where you can read books digitally. With Black comic book creators. If you want a physical copy, soon I will have a Kingwood Comics website. Not until April, because websites take a lot of time. So
it's coming though.
It's coming. In the meantime, you can just DM me at Crownson on like Instagram.
Nice.
Or at Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, Harriet Tubman _ Demon Slayer, and PayPal, Venmo me, and I'll sign them and ship them to you.
Yay! And I have my signed copies, and my latest ones are coming. I've been getting signed copies of David's comic books this whole time, and so I'm excited about getting the latest version so I can catch up and see what's going on. But David, listen, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate having you here. I think what you're doing is great, and it has not been done, and we need it. And I look forward to this becoming a TV movie show, however you visualize it. So with that said, I want to send you off with so much love and grace. So everybody wave goodbye to David. Bye, David. I'll see you later. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Guys, thank you so much for joining me again for another great episode. I just hope that these interviews fill you up the way they fill me up, just learning so much about who's in our community and who are doing great things. Like we talk to each other a lot, or we see what people are doing, but to really hear the stories behind it and how we hustle and how the struggle is real no matter what. I just really learned so much, and each guest drops a gem about how to stay in the game. And I really love that. And speaking of hustling and staying in the game and really, taking the reins of their career, my next guest next week is going to be Jessica Francis Dukes. My girl. You guys know her from, in theater, New York City. You guys know her. You've seen her on stage. By the way, Meet Vera Stark and Booty Candy. And for those of you guys who know her from the TV world, you know her. She's the fierce actress that you see on Ozark on Netflix. And so we're gonna talk next week, which is going to be a great, great time. So join me next Friday. Listen to me. Next Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and the new addition is Twitter. And I just want to make a little note that Jessica Francis Dukes is going to be my last guest for spring break. Spring break is starting to come up here early for me because I'm just taking a little break because I have some things in the behind the scenes I need to do. And just to give my producer and I a moment to just come, get some new guests, give ourselves a break because, we're juggling so much anyway. And, take a couple of weeks off like we did this last time. I usually tend to do 6 or 7 people, take a little break, and then come back. So just so you know, after Jessica, it's going to be the same thing. We're going to take a little break, and then I'm going to come back with some exciting guests and a new lineup for you. And I'll let you know. I'll make sure I make a post and let you know when that is and when the dates are as soon when Bijan and I figure that out. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode, and I'll see you next week with Jessica. Bye, guys.